Ever feel like you're paying for a Pro label, but deep down, you suspect you're just paying for the logo on the lid? We've all been there. You walk into the store, look at the wall of MacBooks, and the marketing gets louder and louder. The Neo is the entry point. The Air is the sweet spot. The Pro is for the legends. But if you actually sit down and put these machines under a microscope, or in our case, under a custom-built, robot-controlled testing rig, the marketing starts to fall apart. We didn't just use these laptops for a few days. We put the Neo, the Air, and the Pro through 2 days of nonstop, grueling stress tests. We measured everything: color gamut, peak brightness in real-world scenarios, speaker frequency response, and thermal throttling in professional apps like Premiere and Blender. We didn't want to know what the spec sheet said. We wanted to know what the performance felt like when the chips were actually hot. And what we found? Well, it's going to change how you look at that checkout button forever. You might be surprised to learn that for 90% of you, the most expensive choice is actually the worst one. But before we dive into the data, let's talk about the bottleneck. We all have those moments where our brain is moving a mile a minute, but our fingers are just not keeping up. You're trying to format notes, organize tasks, or get your thoughts out before you forget them, and the keyboard feels like a cage. That's why we're working with Whisper Flow for this project. This isn't just about dictation, it's about intelligent formatting. I'm talking about taking a disorganized, chaotic stream of consciousness and turning it into a structured, professional document instantly. During our testing, we found it doubled our input speed. It's the closest thing to having a brain chip that writes for you. Check the first link in the description to grab a month of Whisper Flow Pro for free. If you're a creator, a student, or just someone tired of the grind, this is the tool you've been waiting for. Now, let's get into the heart of the matter. We're starting with the display. And look, Apple's spec sheet is a masterclass in obfuscation. They'll tell you the Neo and the Air are roughly the same. But in our lab, roughly is where the devil hides. We tested the brightness, and the Air is consistently 10% brighter than the Neo. That's not a rounding error. That's the difference between seeing your work on a sunny day and squinting at a dark mirror. And then there's the anti-reflective coating. The Neo skips it. The Air and Pro embrace it. If you spend your life working in cafes, near windows, or under harsh office lights, the Neo is already fighting a losing battle against glare. But the Pro? That's where the physics change entirely. It's not just 20% brighter than the Air. It's got a boost mode. Think of it like a turbocharger for your screen. When you're outdoors or under direct sunlight, it literally doubles the output of the other two models. And when you're working in the dark, it drops to a lower minimum brightness than the rest. It's the most versatile display on the market, period. But brightness is just the light. What about the color? The Neo gives you a solid, standard experience. But if you are a creator, you're missing out. The Air and the Pro move into a wider color gamut, the P3 standard. If you're editing photos, color grading video, or even just watching a visually rich film like Avatar, you are quite literally seeing colors on the Air and Pro that the Neo simply cannot reproduce. It's the difference between watching in standard definition and high definition. But for the spectrum of light itself, when we ran our calibrated mic tests, the Neo actually pulled off a surprising feat. Despite being the entry-level machine with only 2 speakers, it produced more bass than the Air. Yes, you heard that correctly. The Air is louder, and it pushes the higher frequencies with more clarity, but in a side-by-side comparison, the difference between those two is almost negligible. Most people would struggle to tell the difference in a blind test. The Pro, however, is a different beast entirely. It's not just louder, it's fuller. It has the resonance, the deep bass, and that crystal-clear separation in the mids and highs that makes a laptop feel like a high-end studio monitor. If you are a casual listener, the Neo or the Air will satisfy you. If you are an audiophile, or if you do any kind of audio editing, the Pro is the only one that truly holds its ground. But let's get to the real meat of this discussion, the performance. This is where most people get led astray by marketing specs. We didn't just benchmark these. We used a robot-controlled mouse and keyboard to interact with these machines exactly like a human would. We watched them boot up, launch apps, and handle real-world workloads. When you look at the specs, the A18 Pro chip in the Neo versus the base M5 in the Air and the M5 Pro in the Pro model, you might expect the Pro to crush the others in every single scenario. Now, let's talk about the fuel that keeps these machines running, the battery. We didn't just let them sit there. We put them through a 48-hour gauntlet. We measured everything from light web browsing to high-stress video rendering. When we ran Chrome and had our robot scroll through websites to keep the display and chip active, the Pro jumped into an early lead, losing only 11% of its battery after 2 hours. The Air and the Neo were surprisingly matched, both dropping by 19%. But the real test came with multitasking. We had Spotify playing in the background while our robots furiously typed in Word and copied data from Excel. This is the real-life scenario, the messy, chaotic workflow we all actually live in. Here, the gap between all three machines narrowed significantly. The Pro and the Air both lost 24%, while the Neo trailed only slightly behind at 26%. It turns out that for standard office work, the Neo isn't as far behind as you'd think. It's efficient, it's capable, and it doesn't just die the moment you open a few extra tabs. However, the Pro model has a secret weapon, promotion. Because it can lower its refresh rate all the way down to 24 Hz during movie playback, it manages its power consumption in a way the others simply can't. While the Neo and Air were streaming away, burning through power, the Pro held its own with clinical efficiency. By the end of our massive 22-hour battery marathon, the Pro still had 38% left in the tank. The Air held a tiny 6-point lead over the Neo. If you need a laptop that survives a transatlantic flight and keeps working long after the cabin lights have dimmed, the Pro is your machine. But there's a catch. We pushed them to the absolute limit by running Premiere Pro until they died. The Neo tapped out at 43 minutes. The Air held on for an hour and 10 minutes. The Pro, despite being the most powerful, lasted an incredible 1 hour and 46 minutes. It's ironic, right? It finishes the work the fastest, but it also has the largest battery to sustain that power. Then, there's the matter of getting back in the game. When your battery hits zero, how fast can you get back to work? If you're stuck with the Neo, you're looking at a slow charge, only 22% in 30 minutes. The Air and the Pro? They both come with MagSafe, and they charge significantly faster. The Air, thanks to its smaller battery, actually hits 46% in that same time frame, while the Pro hits 45%. It's a game changer for anyone who forgets to plug in the night before. Finally, we have to talk about the physical reality of these machines. The I/O situation is where the Pro label really starts to mean something. On the Neo and the Air, you're limited to 2 USB-C ports. The Air at least gives you MagSafe, so you don't lose a port while charging. But the Pro? It's a workstation and a chassis. 3 USB-C ports, a full-size HDMI port, and a dedicated SD card slot. If you're a photographer or a videographer, that SD slot alone is worth the upgrade. You aren't just buying a laptop, you're buying a hub for your entire workflow. And don't ignore the connectivity. The Air and Pro support Wi-Fi 7. If you have the network to support it, you'll see file transfer speeds that make the Neo look like it's living in the past. We transferred a 50 gigabytes file, and the Pro did it in a third of the time it took the Neo. If your life revolves around moving massive project files, that speed is money. So, where does this leave you? If you're a student or a general office worker, the Neo is a solid, capable machine, but the Air is the sweet spot. It's lighter, it's faster, it has a better screen, and it doesn't force you into the premium Pro price bracket. But if you're a creative, a power user, or someone who simply refuses to compromise on the experience, if you want that promotion display, the deeper contrast, the extra ports, and the sustained power, the Pro is not just an upgrade, it's a necessity. Don't buy the Pro just because you think you need it. Buy it because your workflow demands it. At the end of the day, the best laptop is the one that gets out of your way and lets you do your best work. If you found this lab-tested breakdown helpful and you want to see us put even more tech through the ringer, do me a favor. Subscribe to the channel, share this video with someone who is currently stressing over their next laptop purchase, and hit that bell icon. It really helps us keep these tests running. What do you think? Is the extra cash for the Pro worth it for your workflow, or are you sticking with the Air? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one.